Hola. Today is day 26. I'm going to do a voiceover because there's so many pictures. But today I started off with a 3-hour walk in pouring rain. It was crazy. And then I did another 2 to 3 hours. I'll come back to these individuals. You'll see it with this fruit. It's a pilgrimage. Donatario, where it's free food in the middle of this farm. I'll get into that in a minute. But I walked in a pouring rain. This is the worst I've ever experienced, but I embraced it. Almost felt like I needed to go through the suffering of rain to achieve the sun at the end of it. Right in the middle of it, you'll see this home. Right in the middle of a farm, about 7 kilometers in, there was this Donatario, and it comes with pilgrims who have walked in the past. That woman that I'll get into, the woman with the headband, they come here for an extended period of time to donate their time to as pilgrims, and they just live in these huts and they just accept donations, and it's amazing what they've done. The woman with the headband, ironically, was called Gada, which means clear. And it's almost like she was a breath of fresh air. At first, I thought she spoke Spanish, and she didn't understand me completely at all. And then I asked her where she's from, and she said Italy. And we spoke for about 10 minutes, and she was like ecstatic. She fell in love with a man from Spain, and she sleeps outside on wood crates. So to give you that perspective in the nature, when it rains, she sits in under the covers of the porch that you saw earlier. There were beds at the porch. The other young woman, her name was Val. She also donated her time. You can't help but give whatever money you have in your pocket. So I gave like three euro. I had a nice cup of coffee. I had a plum, some cookies, and a walnut even, and it's amazing. But now you can see here the sun started coming out. I was freezing at this point. It was very windy, and as I got closer to Astorga, because Astorga is where I stopped for like an hour before I finished my last 8 or 9 kilometers, and this is where the sun started coming out, and I needed to dry off. I was soaking wet even with my raincoat. And this is as I was walking into Astorga. Astorga is a great city. I got to see the palace at Gaudí, the artist, and I got to go in a cathedral. I met up with my friend, one of the couples that I made friends with from Washington, Mike and Diane, and they told me that the other friend, Janet, injured her leg pretty badly, pulled a muscle or something, and I'm waiting to hear if they're pulling out of the Camino. I hope they don't. I hope they figure out a way to, take a cab. I heard she walked 30 kilometers yesterday and overdid it. So I pray for Janet. Here's Astorga. It's really interesting. As the sun was coming out, I almost was happy with the rain just to get everything else out of my head and focus on staying safe. And you kind of forget about everything. Just one step at a time. I was listening to an audiobook. I'm still reading or listening to Pillars of the Earth, great book about cathedrals. And it gives you a perspective. When I go into the cathedral, you'll see pictures of the palace. I'm getting closer. The palace at Gaudí is beautiful. It's architecturally. I want to talk to my cousin Carmen about it. Architecturally, it's beautiful. Artistically, I can't say I'm a connoisseur. I appreciate, but I don't understand it fully. The cathedral was breathtaking, not surprising. And here's as I'm walking through the streets of Astorga. The sun was coming out, still very windy, still a bit cold. I had to keep my raincoat on just to keep warmth, even though there was a chill. This is the center of Astorga, and then this is the scene that was like a municipal building. Everything has bells, and this is the Gaudí Palace. It's beautiful. It's impressive. I paid 6 euros as a pilgrim. I got €1 off to go through it. I went through it quickly, and then I met Mike and Diane, and we did a 3D They have like a 3D ocular glasses to walk you through, like you're floating above the cathedral, and it gave you a little history of the cathedral, which is kind of cool. Um, these are some really cool pictures of the palace. And then I had to rush out. I told Mike I had to get to wherever I was going, not too late, to get into it. This is the inside of the palace. And at some point, this is more artwork again. I wish I can tell you more about it, but I just took as many pictures as I could. I'll just remain quiet if there's anything that's exciting until we get to the cathedral. Maybe I'll speak about the hotel I'm in is called Via Avis. It's actually really cool. It's got like a Western feel or rustic feel to it. It's got stones. I took a picture. It's the thumbnail is a picture. It's immaculate. It is a hotel. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to eat for dinner tonight in this small town. See, I took a lot of pictures. I'll try to adjust the pictures so you can see some of the items with a little bit of perspective. A lot of religion. You'll see that. I heard this was designed as in Gothic church form, the Palace of Gaudi. It's pretty impressive. You'll see in many of these Gothic churches, they're shaped as a cross, or I'm not even going to get into thinking I know what I'm talking about, but it was pretty impressive. At the very least, it was well worth the €7 just to get, or €6 just to get a little warm. I used their bathroom to change, get out of some wet clothes. I was soaking wet by this point. Man, I took a lot of pictures. I'm so sorry, guys. As I exited, this is the cathedral. It's right next door to the palace. This is where I met Mike and Diane. We when Mike paid for me to do the tour, I kind of went through it quickly. They gave you these cool, they look like old phones, old car phones that you used to have, and you put them up to your ear, and it gives you good perspective of the art and the stonework, and the stories behind it. I try not to take too many pictures there. It just seems redundant. Detail, I recommend going to a store. There's so much to see. Well, I'm gonna have to clean that up. That's the inside of my jacket in a video. I'll keep that in. That'll be interesting. I tried my best to keep my phone and my iWatch dry, and that was impossible. I took some pictures, and then these are the chapels outside of the main cathedral, and then this is the hallway around the cloister, which I found out is kind of like the center or a little garden area. Learned that from reading a book, and now you can see here the grandiose of. I did light some more candles for family and friends. So much to pray for. I'm even getting requests from family, so I'll do it. If you send me a note, I'll light a candle for you. And again, the amount of gold leaf, it's crazy. It's just absolutely stunning. You never get sick of it. You just keep watching, and then you'll see. I was actually running through at this point, taking pictures while I was running, because I had to get going and I had to grab something to eat. If you don't get something to eat by 1 o'clock, everyone goes into siesta mode, and you're kind of like out of luck. This is that was the organ or the choir section, and I think we're getting towards the end. Hopefully. A lot of pictures. The candle that I lit was by the Blessed Mary. And then this was the last 8 kilometers. I took a handful of pictures. The view was nice. It's starting to look a little bit, and I start walking up, kind of like a steady incline for a good 8 kilometers, and definitely got my heart rate up. It was straight like this for about 8 kilometers, and that was fun. But it was sunny, so I wasn't going to complain at all. All right, you'll see the rest of the pictures. I'll stop chatting. Talk soon. Love you all.